Born from pure mana, angels are creatures that many players are fascinated with and wanting to build around. For M20, I have been given something extraordinary. Not just an angel preview card, but a legendary angel preview card. I want to build a commander around this card. Sephara Sky's Blade. But how do you build a commander deck from scratch? This card has never existed before. There are literally 0 lists. This video will be the first deck list for Sephara Sky's Blade. Let's first look at what she does. A legendary creature, an angel, Sephara Sky's Blade costs 4 generic and 3 white for a 7/7 flyer. You may pay white and tap 4 untapped creatures you control with flying, rather than pay this spell's mana cost. Flying, lifelink, and other creatures you control with flying have indestructible. I love this card already, and I want to build a commander deck around it, but how? Let me guide you through that process. And together, we will develop a commander deck here today that has never existed before. So when I look at this card, I think it's pretty clear we want to have white flying creatures and a lot of them. Angel Tribal or token generation comes to mind. Maybe I want to take use of that indestructible ability by using some board wipe, but how am I going to find all these obscure cards to put in this deck? Well, that's why when it comes to looking for how I want to build a commander deck, my first stop is EDH Rec. EDH Rec is a fantastic EDH resource that's focused on just EDH, and oh yeah, well, Oathbreaker now, haha. But a lot of people have this misconception about EDH Rec. They think that it's just for generating lists for Commander, and yeah, you can use it for that. But here, what I'm going to do today is I am going to build a brand new Commander deck. This card has never been seen before. This is literally the first version of this Commander deck, and I'm going to use EDH Rec for, wait for it, recommendations. Oh, EDH Rec. But ultimately build the deck myself. So the first place I'm going to start is going to be looking up some white staples. The page that comes up shows me the most popular white cards in the whole format. For example, I can see that Swords to Plowshares is played in, 53% of decks that include white. But I'm not just looking at the most popular white cards in general, as EDH Rec will also show me the most popular commanders in each color. In this case, I just want to take a look at what existing mono-white decks there are. Looking around, I see a similarity between our new commander and Avacyn Angel of Hope. Avacyn, after all, grants everything indestructible. And my first worry is, why wouldn't someone just build an Avacyn deck? The answer is that Avacyn costs so much to bring out, and I'm already thinking what I want to do is rush out my commander. Well, she won't give herself indestructible. She will make everything else flying indestructible, and if everything else in my deck is flying, then that's essentially Avacyn, but I could bring her out for just 1 white mana. So instead of Angel Tribal, I'm thinking Token Generation. I can skim through a lot of the cards that are played in Avacyn, but instead of just using an Avacyn build, I want to look at Token Generation strategies that are in mono white. I can even pop over to Scryfall and begin searching for cards that create a token with flying. Well, Scryfall is actually going to allow me to sort these search results by EDH Rec rank, meaning that essentially cards that are played in Commander will be at the top of the list, whereas cards that are not included in anyone's lists anywhere on the internet are going to be at the bottom. Again, this is not building a list for me. I'm still going to have to put my deck building skills and talent and my own personality to use. But this is letting me go through a library of literally tens of thousands of cards and getting good, again, wait for it, recommendations on the most effective synergistic ones for what I want to build. After many, many hours of work and even more hours of testing with proxies, this is the deck that I came up with help from sites like Scryfall and EDH Rec. Tokens are the core part of our strategy and will help us to cast our commander early and take our opponent down on their own. White has a ton of ways to make flying tokens, it turns out. One of the best options we have is Maria Angel. She's really strong in this deck and provides a flying creature herself, but also also can potentially put out a flying bird per turn with landfall. We might be able to cast our commander cheap with this card alone. Thopter Assembly is awesome because it can make all the tokens you need to cast the commander for cheap, but it'll then return back to your hand. Hold on to it, and if you ever need more tokens to cast your commander, play it again. Luminarch Ascension, Imperial Storm, and Entreat the Angels are all able to win games on their own by making a bunch of 4/4 flying angels, and also help cast our commander if need be. Sara the Benevolent is a sweet new card from Modern Horizons that can either make our wipe board of creatures a touch larger or just make her own angels. She should be easy to protect with all our flying tokens on the battlefield, and we might be able to get to her ultimate ability. Resplendent Angel makes angel tokens if you are gaining a whole lot of life, and since our commander is a 7/7 lifelinker, we should have no problem doing that. Also, if you decide to keep your commander untapped to wait to block, your opponents won't want to let you gain life. To help out with style points, we'll play Foundry of the Consuls, which is an odd land that hasn't seen much play. If we are desperate, we can sacrifice it to make a couple of flying tokens. Some other token generators are also some of the most straightforward and effective. Benevolent Offering, Spectral Procession, Midnight Haunting, Belfry Spirit, and Geist Honored Monk do a good job just making a bunch of creatures without much fuss. Now, since the deck has a heavy token theme, there are a few cards that we want to add to support that theme. Anointed Procession doubles our tokens as they come out, and should be in pretty much every white token deck anyway. With all the tokens coming into play, Cathar's Crusade will make all our wide board bigger, and each token coming into play will make our commander just a little bigger. But what's better than 1/1 flying tokens? 4/4 flying tokens. Divine Visitation does just that for us. Since all these flying tokens will have Indestructible, let's look at some board wipe. Since we have the advantage of our flying creatures having Indestructible, we'll pack a bunch of spells that destroy most creatures on the battlefield. Sephara will keep ours safe, but we have to be careful since she's not indestructible herself. But wow, Divine Reckoning was made for this deck. It allows us to choose one creature, which will be Sephara, to not be destroyed, and then destroys the rest. In our case, we'll be the only players that have more than one creature. Also, it has flashback, so we can do it again! Kurtar's Wrath kills 2 birds with 1 stone for us by wiping the board and making 2 tokens with flying for us to use later. A Steered Command has always been good because of its versatility, but in this case, it'll be able to hit all the small creatures on the board, while Sephara is safe from being considered big and keeping her tokens safe with indestructibility. And of course, we're going to be running classics like Wrath of God, Day of Judgment, and Fumigate for just some good old-fashioned board wipe that gets the job done. But we'll have to be careful to get Sephara indestructible herself or just be ready to cast her again. Let's help our commander live through some of our wraths that we can't play around, and also help her to survive some of our opponent's wraths. Shielded by Faith and Darksteel Plate are efficient and straightforward ways to give Sephara indestructible so that we can survive opponents' board wipes, but also our own. It's not hard to think of ways to do broken things with Helm of the Host these days, but this use is pretty funny. Helm of the Host makes a copy of Sephara, which then each Sephara gives each other indestructible. Plus, now you have multiple 7/7 flying lifelink beaters. Sephara also has a best friend in Aegis Angel, as they both give each other indestructible. And of course, giving everything indestructible with Avacyn Angel of Hope is good. Avacyn should go in this deck with all the wraths we are playing, and also serves as a backup plan if Sephara somehow becomes incapacitated. Let's take a look at value flyers. We definitely want flyers in this deck, but they can't just be any flyers. We have many to choose from, so we should stick with ones that provide some sort of value other than just having flying. Angel of Jubilation prevents opponents from sacrificing our creatures, which is a weakness since sacrifice gets around indestructible. With Angel of Jubilation and a board full of indestructible creatures, we're going to be hard to stop. One card I hadn't considered in many other decks is Thunder Totem, which is a mana rock that helps us with ramp. If we ever get desperate for a 4th flyer, we can turn it into one for 3 mana. Amarius Shepherd and Karmic Guide not only bring back flying value from the dead, but they are providing more flyers for us to cast our commander for cheap. Aven Mind Sensor is going to protect us from our opponents tutoring up their silver bullet to deal with us, or if you just want to be mean, cast it in response to someone cracking a fetch land. We We don't want to be bothered by others while our tokens in Commander are busy beating face, so we put Archangel of Tithes and Windborn Muse in the deck to help us build up some defenses. Remorseful Cleric and Angel of Finality help us deal with pesky graveyard decks, while Bruna, the Fading Light, and Gazella, the Broken Blade, don't do much for the theme of the deck, but let's be honest, we all want the satisfaction of pulling off Meld and getting Brizella out. We need to be careful of big bad haste creatures in Commander in general, and since we'll be tapping all of our creatures to attack, Kinjali's Sunwing will protect us a bit. Selfless Spirit is a pretty cheap flyer, which is the main reason it is here, but it can be a last-ditch effort in protecting your own creatures or Sephara. Serra Ascendant has been and will always be broken in Commander, and since it flies, it gives us an excuse to play it without remorse in order to stay on theme. Let's round out the deck with draw, ramp, removal, and other good stuff. You see, white in Commander needs a lot of help with card draw, and most of the best card draw available for us is in artifact form. Mind's Eye, the Immortal Sun, and Staff of Nin are all pretty expensive mana-wise, but once we get them out, they really help fuel the deck with an extra card every turn. Endless Atlas is a card that should be in most monocolored decks, especially those that struggle with card draw since it's significantly cheaper than these other options. Ramping and consistently making our land drops in white can also be a problem. Most of our best options will come in artifact form, but there are some powerful exceptions with Knight of the White Orchid and land tax. Smothering Tithe is a ridiculous multiplayer card that should be played in any Commander deck with white in it. Everyone in Commander is drawing a ton of cards, and with this card, you'll be making more gold tokens than you know what to do with. Other than those, we rounded out the usual suspects in Soul Ring, Commander Sphere, Hedron Archive, Marble Diamond, Mind Stone, Pearl Medallion, and Thran Dynamo as our artifact ramp. Caged Sun is put in here for good measure and also makes our tokens a bit bigger. Brewing Commander decks is not easy to do from scratch. There are many options to choose from. A Commander with really unique abilities like Sephara makes us dig deep through the history of Magic to find cards like Divine Reckoning and Foundry of the Consoles. That's why I use a website like EDH Rec. The other place you should be sure to stop by is Scryfall. Scryfall is the best Magic card search engine for finding cards by their name or just about anything else about the card. So I hope very much this video, like Scryfall and like EDH Rec, has been of some help to you. What Commander deck would you like to see a tech on next? Let me know in the comments below. See you in the skies. And this program was made possible thanks to a sponsorship from Card Kingdom, as well as the Patreon support of viewers such as you. So thank you.